Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel for tonight's episode. I wanted to talk to you about healing because it's been on my mind, my heart today. And so I wanted to talk about it with y'all. So let's jump in. I started this channel because I not only wanted to find a healing for myself, and I had been working on it. When I learned about narcissism, it helped me to increase my healing quite a bit because that was the piece that I was missing, where I came from. It's kind of like if you don't know your history, then you're not going to know your future. If you don't know your history, whoever is in control of the history is in control of the future. That's why they don't want you to know about your history. But the same thing goes, in my opinion, by the same token, I don't think you can truly heal to some extent if you don't really know what to target or what to work on. So when I found out about narcissism, I was able to go back into my childhood and see what all had occurred to me. And to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, search it out, and find out where things went wrong for me. Understanding just the pathology of narcissism, the way narcissists can act and operate, and how they think, helped a whole lot in my healing, because it showed me who around me was a narcissist or highly narcissistic. People that were toxic and they weren't good for me. And a lot of the mindless chatter, I quit as well, because typically those would be a flying monkey that you're talking to. It's like the idle hands are the devil's workshop. That's not a scripture, by the way. You'd think it would be, but it's true. When you're idle and you have nothing to do, you might get yourself in trouble, is what it's saying. Or talking too much will cause you to be too loose with your words, and you might start joking around, and it could get too much. And then before you know it, you could be in big trouble, like for instance at work. So I quit a lot of that. I quit a lot of that as well, and I got a lot quieter because I used to talk a lot. And I found that it wasn't good. I say what I need to, and I stick to myself a lot of times because we are targets. And I started the channel to help my own healing and to help others, but also to help the narcissist. When you first go on your venture of learning this kind of stuff, you're kind of like, you know what they're telling you. You don't want to believe it, you know? And it's like you're going to find the answer. You're going to solve the problem. And that's how I got into the etiology of where did it start from. I think a lot of people, come on the channel, and I get it, but they probably think I'm hard on the narcissist. I really don't think I am. I think I'm just firm. I think sometimes I am. But I also feel like they deserve it. When you act so terrible and you don't care about anybody or anything, that's extremely reckless and toxic to you and everybody and everything around you. To play the victim and to be a false person all the time. It's hard because you want to help them, but you can't because you get destroyed. And it's like their karma or negative reaping becomes yours, or at least part of it becomes yours. And I talk about that a lot because you become a part of it. And when you're doing well, the last thing you want to do is get caught up in somebody else's negative reaping. And they play you all the time. So how could they ever be trustworthy? They're always going to steal your energy. They're going to plot on you. They plot on you. And if they're in a ditch because they have nowhere to go and you were to bail them out, as soon as they get on their feet, man, they're plotting against you again. And it's a shame. It's sad. It's sad. I was thinking about it today because this kind of stuff coming up again in my life after I thought it was kind of over. But like the Lord says, all things work together for the good for those that love the Lord and are called upon his name. And I always look at everything like that. I try to these days, and it's worked for me. But a lot of times it's not easy. So I was thinking about these, coven members, and some of them could be 80 years old for all I know. But if it has anything to do with nurture, I don't believe it does. I really don't believe it does, but I could see how it plays a small role. But I believe we are who we're going to be. And we have to always be strong and push forward, whoever you are, whether you're rich or poor. I know it's not easy. And that's why I feel for people. It's a big reason. Because we all come from different places, but we also get to choose and make our own decisions. And a lot of times you find the narcissist makes a lot of poor decisions that are not good for them. And if you're with them, they're not very good for you either. And like I said, they plot on you. So I don't know, just in my feelings a little. I'm always going to be in search for healing of the narcissist. I mean, I want to see a true healing, not the little fixer-upper thing. So I don't count what they have today as being a fix to what the narcissist is doing, self-aware. Self-aware does help, but there's a lot of what you don't see in those self-aware individuals. And their demeanor really doesn't change. They still think life is a joke or a game. And all those old desires are kind of still there. So they have to fight them off every day. And it kind of takes away from what your relationship would be with them. Because it's kind of like still fake again. It's kind of weird because they're so false in who they are. They have to fight off all that negativity just to make something work as a self-aware. If that was even hypothetically does work, they're going to be fighting off all the falsities when regular people in humanity know they're all already falsities. So it's kind of like if you were to operate that way, for instance, to show that you're healed, I think it's great you're doing it so that you don't hurt individuals. When it comes to a relationship status, it still doesn't make sense because it's still like you're not on the same level, or you can't connect, or you can't love. Okay, for instance, your narcissist will be fighting how they don't want to cheat on you every day. That's one of the fights they would have to have on a daily basis. And that's something that you don't do when you love. Or if you do it, it was really, really not what you want, what you should have done. You know it's wrong, and you would feel horrible for it. And it's not something that you would think of and have to fight off on a daily basis. And that kind of would be one of the, does that make sense? It's kind of weird, but it's still like you're in falsehood. You're just doing this so you could have something with me, but it's still not good because your desires are still to do that stuff. It's like this. Here you go. Here's another one. The narcissist would have to fight, a self-aware narcissist would have to fight on a daily basis against plotting on you. Do you see where I'm going with this? People in humanity would never even think of that. And they would have to find a way to show you love in their fakery because they don't feel it, but make it look as best they can. You see? They would have to learn to share, but they would never feel like sharing. And this is where I'm going with this. This is what they call self-aware. And this is the best healing an individual will get. I don't think, well, this is for entertainment purposes only, of course. This is just a comedy channel. But at the end of the day, again, they're being false. It's like they cannot be right. The goodness that pertains to them has to be faked because they don't want to be good at all. And they can't feel it. They can't feel joy. They can't feel love. They can't feel peace. They hate peace. They like chaos. So they would have to fight chaos every day because they love chaos. They're just, it kind of reminds me of an addict. An addict, sometimes what you will find, there's addicts that don't ever want to change, okay? And what they do is they go out on the streets. This is not everybody, but there are some that do this, and they do this they'll do this their whole life. They go out on the streets. They somehow find money or find ways to gather some money, and they'll get high, and they'll be drinking, do whatever. And when that runs out and they get wore out because they have no energy and they haven't slept in days, they haven't eaten in days, then they may go sign into a clinic and they will start getting better. They'll sleep for like 3 days straight. They'll eat everything there is to eat, drink everything there is to drink. And they'll start to put weight on because they're really skinny. And not always, but typically, they may get to a point where they'll get very picky, and then they may sign themselves out. And instead of going to work on more healing, they just want to recover enough so they can go out and do it again. It's kind of like a rest area. And that's what the narcissist does to you. You become a rest area. And everybody else in town becomes a rest area. We were talking about keys on the last podcast that I put out this morning. And it's like the narcissist has a key to almost everybody's house in the city because they have that many forms and sources of supply. Everybody is a tertiary supply. Some of them do that. They have like 20,000 tertiary forms of supply in the city. And they have a key to everybody's house, and they're just going to go lay up somewhere when they need to rest their head. But as soon as they rest their head and get a bite to eat and get some money in their pocket, put some deodorant on, they're heading back out to the streets. And I'm using this hypothetically, but it's kind of very similar. It's like when you stop at a rest area, man, you go to the bathroom, you might nap. You don't want to nap at a rest area, but it's creepy. But some people will nap, and you don't want to drink out of the water fountain. But some people will drink out of the water fountain, and they'll rest. And if it had a gas pump, they would fill their tank up too. But it doesn't. But if you could picture it had a gas pump as well, it would be perfect for this. They would fill their tank up, and then they would drive back off and get back on the streets and go a little further until they get wore out again. And a lot of times the narcissist would come to you or the empath when they're whooped, when they're been on the streets for a while, living it up, blowing it up, and hanging out with other narcissists where there's no fuel. Then they want to come see you because you're peace. But that's the only peace they like. And once they get rested up, they create chaos in your life, and it doesn't stop, even when they're gone. So how do you take that back? And how does the narcissist not understand that? I've changed again. I've changed again. I've changed again. I've changed again. I mean, it's like, how many masks you got? I've changed again. You just change the tone of your voice or the frown on your face. That's the only change I see. And they really expect that even when you don't take them back, they're like looking at you like, why are you not taking me back? I changed for you. And I'm kind of joking around, but on a serious note, man, it's sad. It's sad because, you know, you've cared for these people. And what's the most horrible thing in the world is when you care about somebody and they're cheating on you. You're like, oh my God, man, that's the worst thing in the world. And that's one reason why I had to end it, because I cared for the individual. and the individual's out and they don't care about themselves. And it's weird. They put you in these weird predicaments. You can't love somebody that's cheating on you all the time. It's like you can't have your girl out there cheating on you. And you know it, or you know it's happening. I mean, that's why they can't come see you very often, because they're with somebody else. But they're going to tell you that they were at the grocery store or whatever. But we all know that's bull. And if they were here right now, they would still be trying to convince you that they were eating, they were at PF Chang's or something. Okay. It's like you want to they put a tracker on my car. Can you believe that? These guys, I'll tell you. And then when they go to court and they get busted for it, it's like, what did we do? We were supposed to win. And it's like, putting a tracker on somebody's car might be a felony. That one thing alone. You're taking away somebody's privacy. They're supposed to be sovereign in this country. Really, for that matter, they should be in the world. But it's because of people like you, the narcissist, not you guys, but the narcissist, that people aren't free. And what is that? Why do you have to force yourself into other people's lives? Like, you own it. Like, who are you? I keep saying that because it doesn't make any sense. I've been telling myself, and I've been thinking about it. It doesn't even need thinking. That's the thing. But I do think about it. Like, where do these guys come from? I've never wanted to own somebody. I've never wanted to control somebody or force myself into somebody's life or to bully somebody. I mean, really? And they think it's okay. What if we bully you? I think my ex is getting bullied right now really bad. I kind of feel bad about that because I think it's really bad. I think she needs to get out of there. That's the thing. You can't heal. If you did want to heal, you can't heal around all these narcissists. You can't. It's impossible. But I don't think they don't heal. They don't care. They don't give a damn. The only opportunity for healing, man, is somebody that would be like an avoidant or somebody heavily narcissistic or didn't give a damn for a long time, and then they got some knowledge. But narcissists don't change, man. And avoidants are difficult too, man, because they're always afraid to do anything. It's like, I wanted to call you, but I didn't. But I wanted to call you every day for like 10 years. And you never called because you wanted to, but you were afraid to for a decade. I mean, this is how an avoidant is. Or, you're getting too close. I gotta break up with you. As soon as, they're just like very similar to the narcissist. I mean, maybe their heart's right and they're not as toxic. I'll give you that. But it's like, so you go, it's like they can only go so far into a relationship, just like the narcissist, a few months or whatever, and then they flip out. You don't want to be with that. Or you can't ever voice your feelings. Like, what is that? But I have to be sensitive because people grow up with some heavy duty tyrants. And something else, man. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that kind of stuff on healing. Because even when they're acting right, it's still an act. It's not something that they feel deep down or they can get passionate about or they really give a damn or care. It's like they just are doing it so they can be with you or something. But I have a hard time believing even a self-aware narcissist wouldn't cheat or would be legit for very long without making it short-term as well and abusing. I have a hard time with that but anyway, that's how it would be. It would be a sham of a relationship because still maybe things are going right in the household, but they have to fake it all day, every day because they really want to be bad. There's no getting through to them. It's like if you could open up their true self, if you could get an air pump for like a bicycle and pump it back up or something, and play some holy song that has all the 9 fruits of the Spirit, and vibrate it into them. I don't know. It's just sad because they do suffer, but they only suffer when they get caught. We suffer. We're the sufferers. I shouldn't even feel bad for them. It's hard to feel bad for them because they're just trash, and they choose to be. And these people in these coven, I mean, who the hell wants to serve Satan, man? I never got that one either. I never got why you want to have power and control and slam people around and have to bully them and own them like a piece of property, and you do as you're told. I never got that. That never made sense to me. And the other thing that never made sense to me is, why would you ever want to serve Satan? That blows my mind, because he's also fallen. I mean, he's already failed. I mean, I want to be with the all supreme, good, gracious God, because we all have to deal with him, and thank God he's good. I want to be on the right side of good, man, because I know what evil brings. And maybe I thought it was cool for a time when I was younger. I think a lot of people did, because society pumps that out there. There's a lot of peer pressure as a child to drink, to smoke up, and to do things as a child that you don't even want to do. You don't like the taste of alcohol, but you're forcing it down just so you can be cool. But then later on, you might have a problem with alcohol. But if you didn't have the peer pressure when you were younger, you may have never touched it, because it tastes like gasoline at the pump. That's how bad it tastes. And smoking, I mean, smoking blunts or whatever, it's like that kind of stuff. It's not really good when you first do it. You got to acquire a taste to it and an addiction for it. And then you start, if you get bad enough, you start building a whole lifestyle around it. And that's what the narcissist does. It's just like an addict. If you're an alcoholic, you're going to build your lifestyle. You're going to build your lifestyle around people that drink. Why? Because you both go to the same places. And I drink, but just once in a while. But I'm saying you're going to be with people that drink. Not always, but there's going to be enough of them around because you drink. I mean, you're an alcoholic. And you're not trying to recover. I mean, if you're not trying to recover. And I'm not harping on that at all. I'm just using an example as how the narcissist lifestyle is based around the same thing as an addiction. They're going to be around other narcissists and toxic people and people that enable it, because they're very sensitive and they can't be around people that don't do as they're told and believe that they're some special person and serve them. And the bad thing is they get around a lot of narcissists too. And those are the people that set them up. And they hate on the empath, but then they always want to run to them just for recovery. That's why you're the rest area. But an alcoholic or a drug addict, I shouldn't say drug. If you are doing substances, you're going to be around substance abusers. And that's the kind of stuff that happens. That's what you see. And for the narcissist, they can't be around a bunch of healed people. If they are around a bunch of healed people, they probably won't say a word. Because anything that comes out of their mouth, people will check them. Because it's false. Or they're trying to make something cool that ain't cool. Or they're lying. People might check them on that. So if you see a narcissist around a bunch of healed people, they're going to blend in with the walls. They ain't going to say nothing. But you get a narcissist around a bunch of other toxic people, and, they'll be stunting. Their mouth be moving 100 miles a second. And everybody else be like, yeah. Turn the music up louder. But healing. That's something you can't heal in an environment that's toxic. For a person that wakes up to what they're dealing with in the middle of it, and they're like married and they have to like find a way out of it or something, you are temporarily stuck. And you can do things to minimize the abuse in some cases. It depends on how bad the abuser is. But you can control the energy you give away. I mean, if you act like a stoic, flat individual all the time in the house, they can't steal your energy. I mean, unless you go for the guilt trip. But if you're just flat with them and you don't give a damn because you know their heart is all sin. I mean, it's all black, man. There's nothing there. They're soulless, really. I mean, really. It's kind of like this, in a sad way. I don't know where anybody's going, whether they're going up or down when they pass away. But I think a lot of us have seen quite a few people that seem to be narcissists. And there's no doubt in your mind where they're going when they pass away. They're going to some fire. And there's just no doubt. Remember the first time that dawned on me that I had been with somebody, or I had known somebody, or I had met somebody, whatever. There's been people in my life that were so bad that I would just walk away and I would feel bad for them, because it's almost as if, I'm not judging them, but it's like your intuition. It's just very obvious and simple. They're so bad. Like you've never seen toxic on that level. There's no other place you could go. And that's also what makes you think of the scriptures of the reprobate. Romans 1, 20 through 31, and then 2 Timothy 3 or something. It talks about the reprobate. They're so bad. It's like, I've met people that are so bad. There's just no way I ever see them. I mean, and I'm not the decision maker, but in my gut, in my intuition, everything in me was, when I was thinking about when this would hit me, it would just hit me because they're so bad. And the thought would cross your mind during an instance with them. And you just feel horrible, because for me, that's the most serious thing in the world, where I'm going when I leave here. It's it's everything to me. If I, God forbid, didn't go to the right place when I left here, anything at all that I've done wouldn't matter. Nothing would matter. If anybody doesn't know me and they want to know more about me, that's my number one thing that I am focused on. And I don't do it out of fear, and I'm not rigid with it, but it's very serious. When we talk about boundaries, there's certain boundaries the narcissist just crosses and they don't give a damn. But I have, those boundaries are so bad because I am protecting my soul. Remember I tell you guys a lot on the channel that boundaries is the number one thing that keeps you away from dark energy entering or abiding in and around you, or penetrating your flesh. And that is, at the end of the day, that's a serious issue that you want to keep away from you as far as you can, y'all. And I was talking about how boundaries is your number one, your first defense. There's certain things you just can't do, and you know that. It doesn't take a thought. It's like, I am never gonna smoke no rock. Period. I don't care what the heck I go through. I ain't smoking no rock. I ain't sticking no needles in my arm. I'm just saying, these are just a few things. I ain't robbing no bank, and I ain't trying to break the law. Those are just some simple ones. I ain't gonna abuse nobody, and I ain't gonna steal nothing. And if I, God forbid, borrow money off someone, that's the first thing I'm gonna do if I don't eat, is pay them back. There's just certain things, man, that it just doesn't take thought for me, and it shouldn't for most people. These are things that are so hazardous. And if you have an addictive type personality, then stay away from stuff that you haven't tasted. You know, I always say that the strip clubs or the gambling casinos, those are two things, man, I've been to both like once or twice, but those are two things, man, I was like, man, I don't ever want to come back here again, because I don't want to get used to any of this and then have more problems. I said that for those two things. I don't need any new issues that I'm going to form my own. So if you have an addictive type personality, man, then stay away from stuff that might draw you in and wreck your life. You know how bad it's going to be based on how much it entices you, though. I'm not saying that I ever was enticed to those two things but I'm just saying, it's like, I'm just using it as an example. Those were two things that I remember saying that about. But gambling was never really my thing, because it doesn't really work out very well for anybody. Confirmation. You know, so. But that's all. I think I'm going to start doing some lives. That way I don't have to edit so much. And it might be kind of cool. Just go live. We going live, y'all. I owe y'all live anyway. I've never done one. But anyway, that's my healing story. I'm still looking for the healing of the narcissist, but I don't think there is one, because, like I said, I broke it down and I don't see it any other way. Whether it is nature or nurture, that's still up for grabs to some degree, but I still think you're born who you're going to be. And this is the thing. This is why I say this in this segment of it, because it doesn't matter what hellhole you grow up in. It comes down to your will and like what kind of goodness and godliness do you have in you. It's the same thing with boundaries. Boundaries are just, to some degree, you know, you have to respect things. You have to respect boundaries. You know, if you know it's not going to be good for you, then stop yourself from going. You know, I mean, that's the respect for it. But you can heal to some degree while you're working your way out of a toxic relationship. But man, at some point you got to just go. And I know that's hard. And when they know you want to leave, sometimes that's when they grab a hold of you harder. So you kind of want to you have to actually wear a mask when you're wanting to leave a narcissist. You have to, this is what a lot of people don't agree with or don't believe, but I'm telling you firsthand, because I was with one. When I was with one, like I said, I was with one for 10 years, and I kind of had to get myself prepared to some degree, because I knew that they wreck your life. Because they're abusers. They're just like a physical abuser. It doesn't matter. Somebody who's going to wreck all of your bank accounts and your credit just to do you in. The thing is, I just wanted to get out with, you know, what's fair for me. And mainly at the time, it was just harmony and making sure if we had any joint accounts or something, that it was paid off. So it wasn't going to be an issue. It sucks, because having to put your ducks in a row, so to speak, you kind of feel like you're a fake, or having to wear a mask around them. Meaning, when you're planning on leaving an abuser, you have to fake like you like it. Like you like, still like your life with them. Because once they find out, it's like they're America and you're some small country, and America's coming to kick your ass. And I'm not using America as an evil thing. I'm just saying that's pretty much how it is. Thank you for watching. Soldier, peace, we out.